Hey everybody, hope you're all doing well. My name is Steven and this is the Storytime channel. We've got some entitled parent stories to read, and this first one is a great representation of karma at its finest. Written by ProffesorSpitfire, entitled Mother Tells Kid to Climb Tree, Kid was just expressly forbidden to climb, then karma hits. Not nearly as bad as some of the stories I've read on here, but even so, this experience from yesterday features one of the most entitled parents I've ever encountered in the wild. In the city where I live, there's a botanical garden. It's private property, but most of it is accessible to the public for free. In the middle of the garden, there's a small cafe, and yesterday my GF, our daughter, and I met up for coffee there with another couple and their daughter. Right next to our table, outdoors, there was a small tree that a bunch of children, ages approximately 4 to 8, were climbing in. We'd been there for about half an hour when a gardener or something, it was evident from his clothes that he worked in the garden, not really sure in what respect though, came by and told the kids politely but firmly that they were not allowed to climb in the trees in the garden. The trees are from all over the world and most of them don't grow here naturally, so I imagine it would be quite expensive to replace one should it get damaged. The kids didn't seem to be upset about it and ran back to their respective parents. They did not all belong to the same family or party of visitors. 2 girls aged around 4 ran back to their mother sitting about 60 feet away sipping wine, and the gardener went about his business. About 10 minutes later, one of the mothers approaches our table with a sour look on her face and the girls in tow, and the following dialogue ensues. "Are you the ones who told my daughter she couldn't climb this tree?" "No, it was some guy that works here." Entitled Mother, her tone a bit softer now that she realizes none of us had told off her daughter. "Oh, I see. Well, did you see where he went?" "No, I'm afraid not." Entitled Mother turns to the 2 girls. "If you want to climb here, that's fine. If they don't want children climbing the trees, they should have a playground." She then returned to her wine. Me and my company were a bit baffled, but didn't intervene as frankly none of us were in the mood to come between a Karen and whatever her precious kid deserved. But just 5 minutes later, one of the girls fell out of the tree and hit the ground face first with a good thud. We asked her if she was alright, but before we'd finished the question, she started wailing as if her head had split open. Luckily, she didn't fall from very high up and was probably more startled than hurt. But even so, that's some karma if I ever saw any. Yeah, I definitely think that's some karma. They said very clearly don't climb in the trees. They don't want kids climbing in the trees. And the kid climbed in the tree, they fell and they got hurt. That's about almost what you could expect. Do you think OP was in the right or the wrong here as far as not mentioning anything? Do you think he should have spoken up and said something to the Karen? Let me know in the comments down below. Our next story is by Solarsoul. "You don't know my password? You're an idiot." My parents own a small business. We are a pack and ship store that also sells stuff for some local artists. We also do some other services, such as faxing, fingerprinting, printing and copying, shredding, and notaries. My siblings, some friends, and I work at the store. I was at work about 2 weeks ago and we were very busy during lunchtime, which is pretty normal for us. My brother, mom, and I were all there, and both my brother and my mom were handling their own things, and I was disinfecting the counter. This plump, piggish lady with the classical Karen haircut walks in. She looked like Dolores Umbridge if Umbridge had a Karen haircut. I finished disinfecting, put the rag back into the bucket of disinfectant, then went to the register to help her. She was pleasant at first. She told me she needed to print and sign 2 large documents, then scan them in and email them to the company they were for and herself. Normal stuff for our business. So she emailed the documents to us. Sometimes Verizon phones struggle to connect the data within our store, and our network is secure because of safety and privacy for our customers. She had a Verizon phone and was instantly frustrated with how long it took for it to send. Around this time, her daughter came in, apparently in a rush. Her daughter barely spoke while she was here, but Karen had mentioned something along the lines of her needing to go to work soon. I'll call her CS, college student. She seemed much nicer than her mother. So I finally got the email documents. They were PDF files that required a password. So I disinfected the keyboard and gave it to Karen to log into the PDFs so we could print them. She typed her password and hit enter. Wrong password. So she typed it again. Wrong password. I lost count of how many times she tried to type in the same darn password and kept getting wrong password. By now, all other customers in the store have come and gone. Another batch has come and gone. Finally, I sheepishly asked if there was a different one she could have used. That's when she starts to get nasty. I know my password, it's the name of my daughter. I exchanged a look with my brother, then quietly said, "Okay, ma'am, try different combinations then." She tried the password a few more times while I just waited awkwardly. College student was wandering around the store, looking at the things we have for sale. I was watching her as I waited. Then, Karen cleared her throat, so I looked at her. "Why are you just standing there like a freaking idiot?" College student glared at her from across the store. I was a bit dumbfounded and, frankly, exhausted, so it took me a moment to actually register what she said. I just quietly apologized and stared at the counter. She kept grumbling about how I'm so unhelpful and I should be helping her more. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, I suggested again to try different combinations. She did that snarly sigh thing that grouchy teenagers such as myself do. She typed in something else. And suddenly, we had access to the documents. She grumbled something along the lines of, "Freaking finally," then called her daughter over. I tried to print it and it came up with an error code. So I called my mom over and she helped me riddle it out. But then it printed absolutely tiny. So my mom and I spent a few minutes finagling with settings. That's when I noticed that it was set to the receipt printer size. So I set it to letter size and printed it again. Perfection. Karen's face lit up and she said, "You're so smart, thank you." Oh, the irony. The rest of the job was pretty routine. I told my brother what happened afterwards and he gave me a hug 3 minutes later. I hear my mom's voice raise. She said what? But that was the last we were expecting to hear from that lady, so there wasn't anything we could do. Work went back on like normal. But wait, there's more. We got a call about 40 minutes after college student and Karen left. My mom picked it up because my brother and I were handling customers. It was Karen's husband. He said they never got the email and that Karen wanted to send it to his email as well now. So we sent the documents to them again and all was fine. Then the husband stopped before he hung up and asked, "Did my wife cause any trouble while she was there? She keeps saying the customer service there was awful and I don't believe her." Not his exact words, but roughly what he said according to my mom. My mom told him what happened. He thanked her and hung up. I'd like to believe that Karen got chewed out. Who knows? You know, judging by how this Karen acted, I doubt she got anything that would really contribute to a reformation of how she acts to employees of a public business. The next story is written by actress 415, my ex's mom. Oof, I don't know where to start with this woman. So when I first met my ex's mom, she was lovely. We got along great. But after 2 months, I began to notice her entitled behavior. My ex and his family were fairly rich. They weren't struggling by any means. So when she would go to the charity food drive things where they gave away free food for struggling families, that kinda shocked me. I mean, I get you want to save your money, but those things are for people who are actually struggling. Another thing she did was use my body wash. Mind you, this is the body wash that I bought for myself with my own money to leave at their house on their pet iguana because she didn't like the smell of the body wash she originally had been using anymore. And no, she didn't ask me. I just started noticing a great deal of my body wash missing because they would give the iguana a bath every day and I would only go over to their house once every 2 weeks. But this I think takes the cake. I am deathly allergic to shellfish, and my ex moved to Maryland, which played a factor in our breakup. I asked specifically for him and his parents to not eat seafood around me because, well, I could, die. I went to visit my ex with his parents this past Christmas, and his mother told him specifically that if he wanted to get shrimp, then he should get it because she was paying. And not only that, but she planned on getting shrimp as well. This was after I had asked, begged, talked to them about the risks, talked to my ex about how he has several chances to get seafood when I'm not there. Guess what they all got? Lol, shrimp. I sat at a different table and ate my salad. Needless to say, I broke up with the guy. Now with the virus, I'm trying to return his stuff and I have to see his mom due to how much stuff I have and how far away he lives now. I know I said the last one took the cake, but if you want to add some sprinkles to that, I bought my ex a golden engraved ring for his birthday. It was expensive. He had that and a bear of mine at his place that he sent to his mom's. Apparently, I am only receiving the bear because the ring was a gift to her son and he deserves to keep it. Yet, he gave it to her to give back to me. So, there's my story. Hope you liked it. Oh man, that last detail about the ring, it was kind of heading to a situation where they have to deal with them, that kind of sucks. But now they're out a golden ring and this mom's gonna try and fight you gifted it to my son, even though the son gave it to her to give back. Ugh, I hate hearing about that. The next story is written by Hanzibobs, old woman, entitled mother, and entitled daughter scream at me, a human on crutches, for sitting in the priority seats on the bus. So, a bit of background. I have a genetic condition that causes me issues with my joints. My joints will randomly dislocate without reason, and it's very painful. My worst joint by far is my right knee. When my knee is really bad, I use crutches. I also can't drive when it's really bad because, it hurts like a mother, and I don't think it's a good idea to drive on strong painkillers. On this particular day, my knee had come out 4 times before I had even left the house for work. So I got ready, grabbed my crutches, and headed for the bus stop to get to work. Now, onto the cast. Me, the author of this retelling and a human cursed with spaghetti joints. Entitled mother, old lady who came from the fires of heck. Entitled mother's daughter, the woman who was unfortunate enough to be raised by the woman who came from the fires of heck. On to the story. So I managed to get to the bus stop, and while there, I texted my boss that I was going to be 15 minutes late as I had to get the bus. But I would be in and I would make the time up at lunch. The bus to work is uneventful and pretty empty as I got on the bus at the start of the line. Work was also uneventful. The usual. My ex-boss having a go at me for my knees coming out. The guys I worked with using my crutches as guns. Anyway, the day ends. I'm in a huge amount of pain. I have had a few more issues with my knee. I am pretty pooped up on drugs, prescription, and just want to get home. So I walked the 10 minutes or so to the bus stop. On the way back from work, the bus was always jammed. It's after the bus has been through the city, but too close to the city for people to get off. So when I get on the bus, there is no free seats. Someone kindly offers me their seat as I am on crutches and, it would be stupid and dangerous to be stood up on the bus using crutches. I put my headphones in and start to think about what I want to eat when I get home. And that's when it happens. The entitled mother appears from nowhere. She taps me on the shoulder and the following happens.
Excuse me, young lady. These are priority seats. Can you please get up and let me sit down?
Sorry, I can't do that. I point at my crutches that are in between my legs, so I'm not sure how she missed them.
Well, you are younger than me. I doubt you need them anyway. Get up now and give me your seat.
Look, I'm not giving you my medical history, but I can assure you I am not on these for fun. I cannot stand up on the bus. I am entitled to be here.
Stop being so freaking rude. Get the freak up and stop being lazy, you attention-seeking bore.
At this point, I am pissed off. Look, I am not moving for you or anyone else. I can see 3 other people all sat on the seats, so get them to move. At this point, someone gets up and gives the old lady her seat. Too little too late, but whatever.
No, I don't want your seat. You are older than the lazy fool who was refusing to move for me. You sit down.
The lady insists and the woman eventually sits down. Entitled Mother's Daughter says, "See, it's not hard to respect the elderly." I put my headphones back in and enjoy the rest of my journey home. Luckily, the old hag and her devil spawn got off at the very end of the route, the stop after mine, so when I get up I fall and stomp on the woman's foot with my crutch. I hope you enjoyed this. I have lots more. Old people like to forget that the seats are for those who are less able to stand, not just the elderly. For sure, the elderly, if there's nobody else there, they can have those seats. But yeah, if somebody's disabled, I'm sorry, if you're just old, you're not really going to get priority over someone who literally cannot walk. And our final story of the day is by Business Print 1, entitled "Mom Blocks the Road so her kids can ride their bikes." This happened earlier and I need a second to rant. I'm driving in my neighborhood and slowly come up to a random lady just standing in the middle of the road. She holds her hand out at me like she's the Queen of England. At first, my brain didn't even process what she was doing, so I drove closer, trying to get near enough to ask what the heck was going on. At first, I actually thought maybe there was an accident or something happened to where she decided it was necessary to block traffic. But when I approached, she started to scream at me, so I rolled down my window and yelled back, "Why are you in the middle of the street?" Keep in mind, this is truly the middle of a random road. There wasn't a crosswalk or any pedestrian signs, and the traffic is relatively busy both ways for a neighborhood. She barks,
"My kids are riding their bikes."
Indeed, after driving closer, it was dusk. She has 2 kids riding around just in the midst of traffic. I say, "There's not a crosswalk here," to which she doesn't have a retort. We go back and forth for a bit while several other cars zoom by, but she's preoccupied with yelling at me and seems to have forgotten her poor children are just standing by, waiting for her to blow off steam. I honestly felt sorry for them. After a lot of back and forth with her getting in my face and basically threatening me, I just drive around her because I was over it. She calls me a nasty name as I leave, so I call her one back. So, because she wanted her kids to ride around on their bikes in traffic, she tried to illegally block a road? I don't see how that will ever work out for her. And not only that, but that's so careless and frankly dangerous. I would be worrying about these kids. Some people just don't care and speed right through anyways. But besides that, if you enjoyed the video, please consider giving it a like and subscribe and turn notifications on if you haven't. All of those things help the channel out so incredibly much. So no matter what you did, whether it was commenting, liking, subscribing, thank you all so very much for supporting me right here on the Storytime channel. That said, I hope you all have a wonderful day, and I'll see you all next time right here.